Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Show to Be with Mike G, the show of Dalí, the show of New York, mezcal, hospitality, running in one's blood, and so much more. I'm going to tell you, it's taken years, 8 years, 7 years, something like that, for me to finally sit down and interview the legendary Carolyn Gil. The amount of work that she has done and the reputation she has for such a young woman in the industry is profound. She comes from a family of hospitality. Her blood runs through the industry, and she's had her hands in so many amazing projects, whether it's mezcal or working behind the bar, prep, or any of that. So this is a great chat, and I was just in New York, and we were having lunch with a couple other mates, and she doesn't like the sound of her voice. And I tried to tell her, I tried to encourage her and say, it sounds really good. So why don't y'all be the judge of that as we finally hear Carolyn's story. So without further ado, I hope you all enjoy this great chat with Carolyn Gil, one of the New York bartender elites.
Yes and no, I would say. I mean, it's a compliment when people want to like know more about me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I am terrible at public speaking. I hate it. Oh God, yes.
What is? Walk me through why it's problematic.
I get so nervous.
Really?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, when I was bartending, when I first started bartending, it's like you're on a stage.
Sure.
So I was so nervous. I don't know why I even like wanted it so bad. But I was like,
it's like, well, here you go. You have it now.
Yeah. Like I was shaking. Like if there was anyone, like if my crush walked into the door,
really,
I would be shaking. Like I can't pour something. That's
incredible.
Yeah, that's how nervous I would get.
Well, you hide it well.
I mean, now it's different.
It's better, right?
It's better for sure. Because of course, like once I got comfortable, like it was a little better.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely still get nervous. Like my hands are sweating right now.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, you gotta have some more cognac, obviously, right? It's this is something people tell me all the time, and I'm old now, and I don't feel old, but maybe the ages they're ticking up and all that shit. But I've been singing and recording myself singing since the 90s, so it doesn't bother me anymore, like hearing my voice. The one thing everybody says is like, well, I just don't like the sound of my voice. How do you feel about that? Because you did that 5 drinks till midnight. You gotta look back. Is that part of it?
It was cringy.
Oh man, really?
Yeah, I did that, and I was like, of course, in 5 drinks till midnight, the camera is on you, so you're actually like people can see your body language.
Yeah.
And I see it now, and I'm like, I look so uncomfortable. Like I know how uncomfortable I look.
I thought honestly, it was pretty natural.
I mean, I'm glad you think that.
Yeah, you fooled us all.
But yeah, I was like, I see myself like kind of like trying to like stand upright and like look correct.
Right,
I don't know.
Right.
I feel like that comes from my mom a lot. But
she a manners kind of woman.
Oh yes,
is that right?
Very much. So yeah, I feel like the camera was definitely like an added thing that like I feel that was the reason why it took so long for me to do it.
Oh, I see.
When I did Drink It on the Job, I could hear, because I had the headphones and everything, and I could hear my voice, and I was like, oh my God, this is... And then like friends of mine heard it, and they were like, oh my God, you sound amazing. And I was like, what?
It's weird because we have such images of ourselves.
Yeah.
And then people are like, oh, you got a great voice. I'm like, this old thing?
Yeah.
I feel like I've been battering it around with car batteries and nails for 30 years or whatever, But I think the headphones thing is a really interesting thing. And I've never actually said this a lot, but I stopped using headphones. I started originally But you can tell if things are going well by looking at the signal. You see this fine, beautiful, orangish, pinkish signal
Yeah.
right there? That's how I look. So if I'm ever looking over there, that's the only reason that I'm looking at it.
Nice.
All right, speaking of manners, I still don't know the difference between like a shrimp fork and a salad fork.
I don't
Right?
think I know
Okay,
either.
good. But your mom, what was something that she was maybe picky about, whether it was at the dinner table or in the kitchen, something she was really, really detail oriented on?
Funny that you say like the shrimp fork because not specifically shrimp forks, but she would growing up I remember she would put like the like what is it called? Like a placemat? Yeah,
Yeah,
placemat.
yeah.
And then we would put like fork, knife,
Uh-huh.
spoon, and like every single space that whoever was having dinner, there was a placemat and there was like the whole setup.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved that so much, and it like I loved it so much that I found the specific brand that she used of forks and knives that I
Really?
bought the exact same one
No kidding.
because that was the same one that my grandmother had, and I like couldn't find it. It took me so long
Where did you end up finding it?
online.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a little expensive, but it was something so like it just like
Cherished. Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted that like little thing.
Mm.
All my grandparents have passed away now, and my grandmother, the first one that she's like my mom's mom, she was the first one to pass away, and I didn't really get like a lot of time with her.
Mm.
So I'm always like anything that I can do in order to feel her close to me or like just
Yeah.
feel like she's still around, I'll do it.
That's amazing.
And that was one of the things that the
I
the
love that.
branded things. Yeah.
What do you? Okay, so thinking because there's a little bit of a story when the host asked you know what's your perfect day in New York and all of that, and you talk
Yeah.
about going to the market. Which market was it? I'm not from New York, of course. I don't recall, but a nice
I
market.
think I was talking about Essex Market.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Essex Market. Yeah, yeah. Does that indicate that you're looking for fresh ingredients? Not only because I know you make cocktails, but do you like to cook?
I love cooking.
Do you really?
Yeah, I love cooking.
Does that kind of pair when you think about service, as I'm using air quotes, right? How do you feel, and we're going to talk more about food, no. How do you feel it is that the plating is just as important? How as important is it that the plating is for you just as much as the food?
Yeah. Yeah, the plating is everything.
Yeah.
Everything. So another thing, when I first moved to Austin, my parents came to visit me the first Christmas,
Mhm.
and my dad was like, he came to my apartment, and it was pretty much empty because I didn't have a table.
Yeah.
I think I had like a set of plates that were like really ugly and like just mix match kind of thing.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, I'm gonna get you a set of plates, and, like,
Oh.
everything. And I remember we went to Macy's, and I see the ones I loved.
Mhm.
I like fell in love with them right away. And then it was like a minimum of 8 settings,
Okay. Okay. Got it.
which is a lot.
That has been,
And
especially New York real estate.
yeah. So I remember it was super expensive. It was like, I don't know how much it would have been, but it was pretty expensive. And I'm sorry. I remember my mom saying, no, like that's too expensive. Like we can't get that. And then I was like, okay, like I'll go look for another one. And I found another one. And then I was like, we can just go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad went back and bought it without telling my mom. And then for Christmas, he gave me that. And it's this beautiful, beautiful plate.
Oh, I love that.
That I like every time I cook something. I have two different ones, but it's like every time I cook something and I'm like at home.
Yeah.
And I live by myself, so I'll just like take out my fancy plates and like plate something really nicely.
Oh, I love that.
And I cherish them, and like I take care of them so much. I like don't take them out all the time, just for special occasions. So yes, I think the plating, like how the visual like is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you, something I couldn't find about you is we did talk about you journaling and writing, which is great. But when it comes to other visual or oral kinds of things, are you musical at all? Do you fancy yourself to be creative maybe in other ways?
I would say music. Yeah, I love music. I like listen to music all day, every day.
Yeah.
I go to sleep with music.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Do you keep it on when you sleep?
Yeah.
I used to do that. Oof, it became difficult. But.
I don't know. I'm assuming because of the bars that I grew up around, I'm a really big fan of jazz.
Oh.
And specifically the saxophone for some reason. Like
I love
have
that.
some sort of obsession with saxophones.
Coltrane, right?
Sorry?
John Coltrane, right? He's one of the most famous.
Yep.
Yeah.
But and one of my friends, he's a saxophone player. And every time he would have a show or something, he would invite me, and he still plays at Little Branch.
Oh, cool.
He plays at many bars all over New York, and I just love it. It's like I've never played an instrument before, but I feel like
you
that's
never even tried?
No,
No.
It doesn't really get my attention.
I see.
I'm more of like I'm a very visual person.
Okay.
Very, very visual. So I just like to stand back and just like enjoy what I'm seeing rather than try to do it better or something.
I know. I'd
So I'm
certainly understand that. So to that end, then being kind of a visual person, don't want to presume, but are you hitting up the Met and the Guggenheim kind of regularly to breathe that stuff in?
I wouldn't say regularly, but I definitely go. That was one of like my New York dates with one of my best friends. We started just with like a walk. We started with some coffee, and then we like walked around Central Park.
Yeah.
And we actually bumped into this like group of people singing jazz and dancing and everything, which was absolutely lovely. And then we went to the Guggenheim.
Oh, that sounds so perfect.
And it was just like a beautiful day. So yeah, I don't go very often as I should, since I live in New York. But I try to go. Yeah.
I'm still, even though I've been to New York multiple times, still never been. And shame on me. I've been to other museums around the world, right? But I gotta go, because there's one of my favorite painters rather. He's got a piece there that I've never seen any of his stuff in person. I've got replicas in my room and everything. So I'm looking forward to that day. And you might get a text from me and be like, hey, let's just go.
Absolutely. Let me know.
But good.
I like, that was another thing that I'm a big fan of Dalí.
Mm-hmm.
So every time there's like some sort of like special exhibition or something, I try to go. So that's mostly when I do it. Or Banksy.
Yeah, Banksy's
of course,
too.
I love it. So yeah, I like.
What do you like? And I like Dalí as well. And actually, I had a previous art teacher who spent a whole international flight sitting next to him.
Yeah, that's amazing.
The things that she shared about how much of a perverted man he was interesting.
Sounds about right.
It sounds right, yeah. There's like this Ben Kingsley movie called Dalí Land that came out last year, which was about his life. It's really kind of good. But he traversed a lot of visual styles. And this is not an academic study on Dalí, but what do you find gravitating about his work?
I'm not sure. Of course, like my favorite painting from him is the one with the clock. I can't remember what the name is.
Yeah.
With the clock that looks like it's melting. And like something about that just, it got my attention the first time I saw it. And then from there I just started like seeing other work from him.
Yeah.
And I liked it, and it would just like pulled me towards it. And of course Banksy, I just like the fact that nobody knows who he is. It's like,
I love
so
that.
incredible. I don't know if you saw, there was a documentary style when he did when he essentially made fake money and like threw it all over somewhere in England. It was like,
I love it.
The documentary is incredible, and it's like just things like that he does. And then it's like during the pandemic, he made this this drawing that it's like a kid and he's playing with like his heroes, and instead of like there's a Batman in a basket, and there's like a nurse and like I think it was like a nurse and a doctor, and he's playing like essentially saying like these are our new heroes.
Yeah. Wow.
So that was pretty cool as well.
There was a
Yeah.
rumor. I don't know if you heard this rumor. So I love music like you do. I don't anymore listen to it when I'm sleeping. I used to as a kid, like every night, but now I just have a fan, and that's the steady state white noise. I heard a rumor. I love it because it's maybe even asinine on who Banksy is. And this is not anybody anyone would know either. But there's a band called Massive Attack. I don't know if you know Massive Attack.
I don't think so.
Kind of like trip hop, like Portishead, Tricky, stuff like that from the early to mid 90s. Someone said there's a rumor going around that one of the members of Massive Attack is Banksy. And if that happened to be true, that would be the most amazing thing that I've ever heard, that a band that I liked ends up being an artist that I like. So we don't know, but I love the mystery around that as
I think
well.
I heard that.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. As long as I'm not the first one to say it, because I swear I heard that somewhere.
Yeah. And like wherever I saw it, like it was giving reasons like why that makes sense. And I was like, I don't even know this band, but yeah, it makes sense.
Well, it actually makes the band better, surprisingly, because they're a great band already.
Yeah.
You ever watch the show Luther? You know Idris Elba, he's the detective, the British detective. Well, he's not.
It's on my list.
If you
but I don't
watch
think I've seen it yet.
The intro is a Massive Attack song.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful intro. So I say that. But I do want to talk about cooking. I've been watching so much MasterChef. I love Gordon Ramsay. I try not to apologize for it. I was on an episode of Kitchen Nightmares, which is one of the things I hold really dear. But I love to cook too. Not because I even eat it. I actually just love the process of cooking.
Yeah.
But what's something that you really, really enjoy cooking?
Two things. And funny enough, every time I make one, I end up making the other one like for a week. I recently learned how to make tamales.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Amazing.
And it's such a like heavy and like such a long procedure.
Mm-hmm.
And the myth is that in Mexico there's a myth that you can't make tamales and like nobody can be mad, nobody can be like upset or anything like that because it will mess up the tamales. Like the masa will come out wrong.
Wow.
So every time I make tamales, I'm playing music. I'm like literally singing to my masa and like just like it just brings so much joy to me.
I love that so much.
And like my love language is food. Like like whenever I like want to show my love to someone, it's like I'm gonna cook something for you.
That's amazing.
So every year, for the past like 2-3 years, I've been like I'll make tamales, and you cannot really like make 1 or 2 tamales.
What's the point if you're already in there? Right?
Yeah, and it's also like it's just like the masa and everything is just like it's too much work in order to like make 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So every time I've made them, I come out with about like 70 to 80 tamales. So I'll always like make them and put like 10 to the side and be like, okay, these are for me, or like my brothers or my mom. And then the rest I'll just like go to bars and I'll like put them like in separate bags and I'll be like to my friends like, here you go, tamal. And like nobody has ever been like, why are you bringing me food? Everyone is always like, oh my God, thank you so much. And especially like a bartender that it's like, if it's like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's like, you don't really have time to do much.
Right.
And like my friends, one of my neighborhood bars, I went in there this holidays and I brought them tamales and they were like, you gotta be kidding me. They were so happy. And they were like fresh off the pot. So it was just perfect. And I was like, yep.
You have a favorite? So I love working with corn. We were just talking about these bags of Oaxacan green corn and stuff. And I love nixtamalization and all this stuff. So I get it. Like I hear you loud and clear about making tamales. But you have a favorite filling? Someone told me recently there's a tradition. She was from Coahuila, and she said that they had a tradition of making sweet tamales. I've never had one.
They're really good. I personally like my favorite. This is why I was saying that.
To make the two together. Things,
green enchiladas are like it's my favorite. If I had to only eat one thing for the rest of my life, it's my mom's green enchiladas. I just absolutely love them. So every time I make tamales, I make them chicken and green sauce. So it's essentially the same sauce as like the enchiladas. So I like that's my absolute favorite, and it
It's
has to be the Oaxacan tamale. It cannot be like the one with the corn husk. I prefer the other one.
okay, and actually, so
Yeah.
teach me a little bit. So I know the corn husk piece with steaming and all of that. How is is it banana leaf with
Yep,
Oaxacan?
it's banana
Oh,
leaf.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I've had those before.
I don't know what there's something made different for the one with the corn husk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know what it
Is
is.
there lard also in the
Yes.
Oaxacan? There is. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
So
But I think I want to say it's a little bit more like moist. Like it's not as dry as the corn husk one.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like them more.
Okay.
I'm sure there's something else different in there, but I have no idea.
No, I love this though.
Yeah.
I never get to talk about cooking with folks.
Yeah.
It's always about booze, which we will talk about mezcal here shortly. But how do you feel? Okay, because I just went up to Roswell for the holidays. My folks are living up there now. Pretty quick drive, surprisingly faster than El Paso. And there's something that's abundantly available all year round in Roswell, New Mexico, and that is not only green chile, but hatch chilies. Have you had hatch chilies?
I don't think I have.
Oh my goodness, this is I gotta get you some. They are. Consider it New Mexico the AOC or the denomination of origin for this particular type of green chile.
Okay.
And it's fruity and it's vegetal and it's like all the rage. We get them here in Texas because we're pretty close, but it's quite possible that you folks in New York, being so east, might not get that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a very good. I try to have goals for 2024. One of these goals is to get you a thing of the
Done.
Because if you're making the
Yes.
verde sauce already,
Yeah.
I think you would love it.
Yeah, I just make look like the classic jalapeno. I always throw like a one or two serranos in there just to
Yeah.
like make it a little extra spicy.
Oh, I love it.
And green tomatoes. That's it.
This is great.
Yeah.
The love of cooking, because the thing that people may or may not know, even from before I talked to you, we text or I met you in person, people told me about your family coming from the industry,
Yes.
and like really, really entrenched in the industry. So, but you said your father's side's Puebla, and then your mom's Guanajuato. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay. So, did your folks grow up in New York City, or did they grow up in Mexico?
No, they grew up in Mexico.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
Yeah. So both my parents were born and raised in Mexico City, and my grandfather, my dad's dad, came to New York, and they got the amnesty that happened in 1986. I want to say.
Do you know why the amnesty was granted?
I'm
not familiar.
not sure.
Yeah.
No, I actually I started Googling because I was so intrigued by I was like, Dad, how did you get your papers?
Yeah, right.
Like you were not born here.
Yeah.
So he told me he got it through an amnesty in 1986, I want to say.
Wow. Okay.
And who was the president? I want to say it was
for our president in 86?
Yeah. I can't remember who it was. Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so.
Because I guess I overheard my dad being like, "Oh, my president is Reagan," and I was like, "What? Why? It's not even why?"
Yeah.
So that's when the whole thing came up.
Interesting.
So yeah, they were raised in Mexico.
Why?
And then,
So why of all places? Not that New York's not a beautiful place, but
I'm not sure, to be honest.
is there other family there?
We already had more family here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my grandfather, little by little, started bringing all his kids.
Okay. Okay.
Most of my dad's family is here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And mom's still in Mexico City, or?
Yeah, my mom's in Mexico City.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then how many brothers do you have?
I have two brothers.
You're the only daughter, right?
I'm the only daughter.
Okay.
And, I'm
And
the
you're
baby.
the youngest, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That's part of this whole thing. Eventually you should just have a diagram.
Right.
Because as the story is, I understand that your dad was working with Sasha. Your mom was also working.
Yeah, my entire family.
The entire family. Yeah. And they're like, we'll train you to be a hostess. It's going to be obviously this long program. As I say, cheekily, you trained one day and then you became a hostess.
Yeah.
So why I bring all that up is, and I've talked to a lot of whiskey, they're almost always dudes, to be honest, but their dad's dad did a thing. Let's say the Russells, right?
Yeah.
Or the Nose. Did you ever feel like you had your own out to not be in the industry? Because if the whole family's doing it, it's almost hard when y'all running not literally, but running a restaurant together kind of thing, right?
I wanted to be in the industry so bad.
Did you? Oh, okay.
It was so bad. um, I mean, like when I was younger, I wanted to be a mechanic.
I know you love cars.
I love cars. I'm obsessed with Formula One.
Mm.
So I wanted to be a mechanic, but I remember my mom back then being like, "No, that's for boys."
Mm-hmm.
But I've always loved a job or like a hobby that it's like manual labor.
Mm-hmm,
I don't know
mm-hmm.
why.
Mm.
I love it. And I wanted to do that first. I didn't. And when we were here in New York, and I was about to graduate from college, I was like, from high school, I was like, what am I going to do now? Like, what do I want to study?
Mm-hmm.
And I had just gotten a little bit into fashion. And I went to college and got a degree in fashion merchandising,
Oh,
marketing,
really?
and management. Yeah.
Did you go to the fashion school in New York, or did
Not
you?
FIT.
Okay,
No,
not FIT. Yeah, that's the one.
I went to another private school.
Yeah.
And I was enjoying it and everything. And every single project that I was doing, like any big project, I would somehow make it be about a bar. Always. And my teacher once told me, she was like, have you ever considered working in the like service industry? Because you keep like just bringing like I made I had to essentially open my own store and see like show what I would sell there and everything, and I called it the store club. And all the fashion in it was very like 1920s, and like I was always obsessed with like men's fashion instead of female fashion.
Interesting.
So I did have an out for sure.
Sure.
But somehow I just got pulled back in.
I mean, how many years now have you been doing this?
I started as a porter
in
Milk and Honey, and I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
So 17 years. It's crazy.
Most people don't do much of anything for 17 years. Yeah. Right? Like 5 years here, 6 years.
That's it.
Before we talk about your journey into Mezcal and some other places that you went, is there a point in which you must own your own bar? Is that part of this journey, or you don't see it that way?
At first, I really wanted that. I really wanted to open my own bar, have decide what I like, the kind of bar I want to have, and like have like the control of everything. And it would have been very, very similar to Here Nor There because I love that place. Yeah. But now I'm like, I've traveled so much, and like, I feel like going to bars. I love going to bars, and I love enjoying myself and everything.
Same.
But I feel like now it would be like making it my job, and it's like having a baby, and like,
right,
like you would have to always be there. I wouldn't be able to travel. So I'm like, I don't think I do. I really want to open a liquor store, but I want to retire in Spain. So
Which
my
part?
idea, Madrid.
Yeah, it's the best.
So my idea is like opening a liquor store because I need to have something to do. I can't just be hanging out and going to bars every single day. So it would be a liquor store, if anything.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I thought about it too. I love that concept of a liquor store, and I love that there's so much great mezcal in Texas.
Yep.
What I don't like about liquor in Madrid, however, is all the gins are watered down. I don't know if you noticed that. I guess because all those gin and tonics, they want everybody to behave, which is surprising for the Spanish, right?
Yeah.
But there was something I was reading between the lines, and I was trying to understand about you that I couldn't necessarily from that 5 Drinks Till Midnight interview that you had. And that is, I think, and tell me if this is true. Actually, you just said it, but you love different cultures. You love to travel.
I do. I really like. The thing is, like, I'm more when I travel, I like feeling like I'm at home right away. I don't really. I love hotels. Like, if I'm staying at a fancy hotel, that's amazing, and I'll enjoy it. But I love like waking up and like making my own coffee, or just going around the corner to like the coffee shop, like, just feeling like I'm at home right away.
Yeah.
And just that feeling, it's like why I travel.
That's amazing. So, okay, and I love this because we're talking. I'm curious. Copenhagen sounds great, but I've actually never been to Copenhagen. I've never been to Guatemala either. But you've worked at Cafe No Say down there.
Yeah.
But what's been maybe the most difficult place that you've traveled to that you wanted to feel like home, but was difficult and not happening so quickly?
Copenhagen.
Is that right? Why is that?
I am gonna get so much shit for this, but I did not like Copenhagen.
Mm.
I don't want to say I hated it, but I'm a very happy person for the most part.
Yeah.
And I was so depressed there.
Really?
Yeah. Just the weather was terrible. It was always like either misting or properly raining.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see the sun for months.
I'll take its toll on you for sure.
Yeah. And my job wasn't the greatest. I wasn't a big fan of what I was doing at the moment. Even though that was the reason why I moved there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any friends there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was
people friendly there?
I mean,
I've never been, so I'm not sure.
I feel like it's Copenhagen was very similar to like what people say about New Yorkers. Like New Yorkers are always mad and like
standoffish.
Standoffish. Yeah, but I feel like it's just like getting to know someone and then people become nice or like they're nice once they get to know you. So that was like the thing there. I feel like it's very similar to New Yorkers in that way. So they're not friendly.
Right.
Yeah.
It takes work, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of that does. And so you New York to Austin for a bit. Obviously, a lot of stomping ground here, working at Firehouse, built a great group of friends, a lot of folks that we have in common. Back to New York. Is that right?
Yep.
And then, well, actually, so Weather Up's what took you to Austin. Is that right?
Yeah, let's say that.
Or it was love. Either way, we could say I like love.
Definitely not love. Okay. It was not love. Let's just say Weather Up.
There were three things that it could have been. It wasn't love. All right, fine. It wasn't love.
It like initially it was,
Mm-hmm.
but it just ended up being for Weather Up that I came here.
Okay, so history gets rewritten. I love this. I love it. But so you did go back to New York though after
I went
Austin,
back to New York just for like a week, I think.
Oh, that was it?
Yeah.
And then off to Copenhagen after, or was it somewhere else?
So I went to New York for a week, and that was when I got invited to, I'm sure you've met Sophie Fitzpatrick before, one of my dearest friends.
I think so.
Her and her family invited me to spend Christmas with them in Liverpool.
Oh, I love Liverpool.
So I went to Liverpool, then I went to London.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed in London for, I want to say 3 months.
Really? What were you doing? Were you working?
No. I was actually
Chilling.
staying with Sophie's big brother, Matt. And I went to an Oxford extension of the school.
Really?
Learning how to teach English to adults.
That's amazing.
I got my degree. And then I went to Madrid and I was working as a private English teacher for like
right?
3-4 months. I absolutely hated it.
the work itself? No, obviously not Madrid. Madrid's great.
No, Madrid I absolutely love.
But the work, I guess you didn't enjoy.
I'm not patient. I don't have patience. And of course, someone that is trying to learn English needs a lot of patience. Yeah. And also, it was so different. I was teaching an engineer, an architect, an 11-year-old girl, a doctor, and the Spanish Air Force. And everyone wanted me to know everything about their profession. It's like, this is not how it works.
Oh, wow.
So it was very, very difficult for sure. But it was one of the highest paying jobs. So I was working maybe 20 hours a week.
Oh,
and making around like 500 euros a week.
Wow.
For 20 hours.
It's pretty great.
It was like, yeah.
How'd you know, what was the moment where you're like, I can't do this anymore?
So I had to leave because I was there, like I didn't have a visa or anything.
I see.
So I had to leave for 3 months, and I was supposed to come back in like do the job and everything. But then the company I was working with shut down,
Mm.
and I was like, well, this is the sign that I don't
I didn't want to do it
I don't want to
anyway.
do it anyway.
What's
So
nice though is in the history books, you don't have to say that you left it.
yeah.
Right. It's not that you didn't like it.
No.
They just didn't. They didn't
Yeah,
have
they
their
shut
shit
down.
together. They shut down.
Yeah, so that's when I went back to London for a few days, then New York, came back to Austin, and I want to say that was the time that I went back to Guatemala, I think.
I see.
Yeah, I want to say that's how it went. And then I was just hopping around.
How? This is something I want to like discuss. Just because this is on my mind. And Carolyn, thank you for letting me go through therapy with you too at the same time. Right? A lot of people don't realize this is therapeutic for me too. Something that I love to travel as well, and I love my tenets. And I'll frame this in a question. So my tenets when I travel, I want to walk a lot, which was a problem when I went to St. Louis. Unfortunately, it's not particularly safe for me to walk around. But I want to eat a little, but I want to drink a lot, right? And not irresponsibly, whatever. But I love that. Go to museums and go to shows. The vestiges or the last pieces of culture and stuff, right? But I do miss love, and I always miss my partner. Not always. But the constant traveling around, do you find yourself, and I bear in mind, I have no idea if you're married or have a partner or any of this stuff, right? But does that ever make it complicated? Wanting to have someone to settle down with, but also wanting to go everywhere.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. I'm single. I've been single for a few years now. But one of the things that, and I love, like being in love.
Yes,
like,
right. Same.
It's such an incredible feeling.
Yeah.
But I've always thought if I'm going to be in a relationship, it's because I'm in love with that person. But not just that. It's like, I feel like being in love with yourself first has to be
like prerequisite, right?
Yeah. And I'm so comfortable with being single. I don't mind it. Of course, like I do sometimes like want to have someone to talk to or something.
Yeah.
And I've like dated a bit, but it has never like gotten to the position where it's like we're in like committed relationship or like something like that. So it is hard, but I feel like if I ever meet my person, it's gonna be someone that wants to travel with me, that wants to like
I think you're
drop
absolutely
the job and like just let's go crazy.
Yeah.
I love like being spontaneous and just like screw it, let's go to Paris for the weekend.
Yeah,
like, I don't care. So yeah,
I love that, and I feel the same way. The weird thing with me is kind of like this is a metaphor, of course, but I'll take my little robo vacuum, right? It'll go wherever and do the thing and explore, right? Now I know it's technology and it knows the annals of my house and how to clean the floors and all that shit. But he's always got to return back to charge. And it is Kay and I named it. It was like Ducksworth or something. I can't remember. It ended up being a he. And that's kind of how I feel. I will go out anywhere for any determined amount of time, but I always have to come back for the work. And I know I don't necessarily like that. But for you, it sounds like you don't ever need to return back to the dock to recharge. Is that fair?
Yeah. I mean, I moved back to New York because I was missing my family. But I feel like that was the main reason, like, me moving back there. But if my family was in New York, I would probably be wherever they are.
Yeah,
so
I see.
That's my recharge. My, like, just spending time with my family.
And same premise, really.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm kind of anchored to Austin because I've got a physical building where we make spirits, and I've got stuff resting in glass, speaking of Yola, which is something we'll talk about in just a moment here. But I don't know. I feel like I got to come back every now and again.
Yeah.
Despite, I'm not rich, so that's one reason I come back,
yeah.
right? to make some money.
You and me both.
Yeah. But it's interesting because something I asked, do you know, it doesn't matter, but so there's a gal, Kate Perry, who works for, she's a great the rum person, you know, in the industry and stuff. And she's like me, we like to travel alone. That doesn't mean I don't want to travel with my partner. In fact, I really do want that. But I don't have any problem traveling alone. A lot of people are afraid of that.
That's crazy to me. That's so crazy.
Isn't it?
Again, just like you're saying, I love traveling alone. I don't mind it. My mom, she wants to travel, but she won't do it. She's like, no, like, what am I gonna do? And I was like, what do you mean? What are you gonna do?
That's such an interesting mindset,
like,
right?
You have your phone, you have your wallet. That's all you need. Oh, your
one
passport,
foot in front of the
like,
yeah, right, yeah.
Her dream was to she's always wanted to go to London. Always. She's never been still.
Oh, really?
But when I was living in Copenhagen, I called her one day and I was like, what do you think about like coming to visit me? And she was like, oh my God, yes, absolutely, absolutely. I was like, cool. I'm not gonna tell you where we're going. You're just gonna make sure that this week, this date, you're ready to like get out.
Oh, I love this.
And I told her the dates. I bought the ticket. She had no idea we were going. She thought it was going to be in Copenhagen. And I was like, nope, like, we're going to go somewhere else. And she wanted me to come back to New York to fly with her.
Oh.
And I was like, are you crazy? I'm going to pay a flight just to come get you?
And it's uncomfortable sitting on a flight for 7 hours, 8 hours.
Yeah, so her dream was to go to London, so I thought of London, but I was like, no, like, I feel like we should go to Paris. And I told her the day of, I was like, hey, I know you don't like layovers, but that was the only way we were going to get to this place. So we have a layover in Paris. I'm going to meet you there, and then from there, we'll take the other plane. And she was like, okay, like, that's fine. She was like, are we staying like for a few hours or something? And I was like, nope, 0. And she was like, are you crazy, Carolyn? She was like, how dare you take me to Paris? And like, we cannot even spend a few hours there. So
but obviously you're fooling. Right?
I am totally like, yeah. So not until like she got off the plane and like I'm waiting for her and she's like, where are your bags? And I was like, oh yeah, surprise. Like we're actually staying.
Oh,
and she was like,
wow.
Oh my God. And we went to the Airbnb, we got ready. And then I knew like what streets to walk around in order to like not see the Eiffel Tower.
Oh my gosh.
Until it was right in front of us.
Oh, I love that.
So we did it, and then the moment in which she like turned around and she saw the Eiffel Tower and she got teary, I was like, that's enough for me. Like my trip is made.
Oh my gosh.
And I had been so many times to Paris already.
Yeah.
So it was like, to me, like I enjoyed it and everything, but for me to go with her and like see that, I was like, I'm good.
Oh, I love it. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So it's like I definitely like the fact that she doesn't travel by herself. I'm like, this is crazy. I wish she would.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll take her to London.
I love London.
Yeah.
I don't know why I love it so much.
It makes me feel a lot like it's New York.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little cleaner. And yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy being there every time.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny because my folks are getting in their late 70s now, and the odds of international travel are pretty unlikely, But I had a moment, and you were in Scotland for your birthday and stuff. But I had a moment I was in Scotland. I was like, "Fuck, man, my mom would love this, and my dad would love this."
Yeah.
But I don't think they'll ever do it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we want. I think when you're well traveled, whatever that might mean, you're like, this is heaven on earth. Because of the feelings of newness, the feelings of comfort, the feelings of connection. We want, I think, everybody to experience that. And so to think that someone, now it's different, like older generations, I kind of get that, But to think that people wouldn't just step out on the ledge to just be and do the excitement of not knowing where you're going next, just walking.
Yeah.
I love that. So it's something I think a lot of people don't get.
Getting lost.
Like,
I'm a big fan of Christmas markets.
Oh, cool.
I love Christmas. Like, Christmas is like my favorite holiday. And in I think it was 2018, I came back to New York to see my family. And then I left probably like early December.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm gonna go on a Christmas market hunt. I was like, screw it, why not? I went to London first. I went to like 2 or 3 markets there,
Yeah.
and just like hopping around. I went to Germany, and when I was in Prague.
You're from East Coast. It's fine. Like, I figure you're from Boston or something. Bastard.
So when I was in Prague, I was just walking around, and in one day, I was just like, I don't care if I get lost. I have my phone. It's fine.
Yeah.
In one day, I went to 10. I want to say 10 Christmas
Holy
markets,
shit.
because it was just like they were everywhere.
It was meant to be, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I just like I was just walking around. I like went to some palace. I was like, it was beautiful.
You know, a palace.
Yeah,
It's
just
fine. Yeah.
It was whatever.
Get this palace
Yeah.
down the street, obviously.
So it was really nice to do that, and I was like, yep, I just like walking around, getting lost.
Same.
That's totally fine.
I love that.
I ended up going to the that was when I saw the John Lennon wall,
Oh,
which I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
And I just walking around and getting lost and just kind of following tourists.
The best things happen when you
Yeah.
do that.
And I don't like looking like I'm a tourist.
Yeah, same.
So I'm not on my phone like, oh, where am I gonna go right now?
Right.
So I was just walking around.
It's a thing that I think, before we talk about, you know, your transition into brand ambassadorship and stuff, like, if you can't travel alone, you need to start. It's the self-reliance is a thing,
Yeah.
and I think it's really important to face some stuff that's uncertain for you. And the good thing about London, for anybody that ever is going to go to London, despite how big it is, despite how many tube stations there are, and you can get anywhere fast, if you want to just go to a pub for a few, just fucking do that.
Yep.
Recalibrate, be like, I'm just going to go get a beer,
Yep.
whiskey shot, whatever,
Yep.
or gin and tonic, if you
Yeah.
will. So I heard the story about how it was pretty easy to get, I wouldn't say that any role is handed to you, right? Like, you've had a great career and you've worked at some of the finest places. Currently at Dutch Kills, is that correct?
Not anymore, actually.
Oh, tell me where you're at now. Or if not a
I'm
place.
not really bartending anymore.
Really? Is it full-time brand stuff now?
Yeah.
Cool.
For now.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow.
Sure.
Dutch Kills has been like one of my favorite places to work at, to be honest. It's been incredible. And I got super, super lucky that when I moved back from Copenhagen, they had a shift open, and Richie and I met up, and he was like, hey, I have the shift open.
Yeah.
If you don't want it, I'm gonna have to work it, so please take it, essentially. So I ended up working there on Saturdays, and it was amazing. I was just there once a week at first.
Yeah.
And at some point I was there three times a week, but it was incredible. I loved working there. But yeah, I'm not there anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did people know? People know this? I guess they must know this. I don't want to be the first one to try.
Post.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good,
I did
good.
make a big
As long
post.
as someone somewhere knows.
Funny
it,
enough,
this
like some people like have still asked me. Someone asked me like 2 weeks ago, "What nights are you at Dutch Kills? Like, I'm gonna come see you." And I was like, what? Nope, not anymore.
Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah,
good. So we're in a period of transition.
Yeah.
Of new opportunities, which
Yeah.
is certainly a good thing. The last time I saw you was at Arte Agave here in Austin. I can't recall what month it was.
October.
October.
Yeah.
I got back from Scotland like the day before.
Oh wow.
So I was like, well, I either keep going or I pass out.
Yeah.
Kept going, right? And I tried this pechuga that you had, which I believe it had turkey.
Yep.
Despite how much mezcal I drank, I still try to remember all the stuff I drank. And it was really, really bright, and it was lovely, you know? And apparently you had met one of the folks working with the brand. You preferred YOLO on the rock with some orange. How has this journey been for you as a brand? Because this is the first time you've repped a brand, right?
Yeah.
Do you like this side of the biz too?
I like it. It's very different, and it's hard. Like after so many years behind the bar and like doing anything but branding,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely hard to transition. It's hard to like let go of that part.
Right.
Because I love bartending. I really, really do. Not just like as a job. It's
Yeah.
I would do it as a hobby kind of thing.
Well, I got plenty of stuff in the kitchen, just for the record.
It just like it fills a place in my heart that
Mm.
nothing else has ever
I
done.
love that. You truly are in love with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's definitely been hard to kind of let go.
Mm.
I feel like I'll end up like bartending here and there at least once in a while,
Yeah.
just to like keep that fire going. Um, but everything with Yola has been amazing. It started very like organically. I've learned so much with this new position. So it's like it's something that I had never done. I never thought I wanted to do it, and just kind of winging it at first was really nice. And just getting to know the market and like just doing something completely different now. Like,
right. Does it bring you closer to, so as a, I'm not gonna use the one word, I don't like it, but I'm a white dude, right? So like whatever the hell I never met my dad, so who knows where the fuck my lineage is, right? But at least for you, it's relatively clear you have really direct ties to Mexico. Does working with the Mezcal brand, which is based out of Oaxaca, if I understand correctly, is it made in Mazatlan? I can't remember where it's made.
No, it's in San Juan del Rio.
Oh, San Juan del Rio. Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
Well, we do have two palenques. It's like San Juan del Rio and Mihuatlan.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's because that's what we were talking about, is in Mihuatlan, which is a beautiful sandy place where you're surprised that agave grows there at all.
Yep.
To be honest, but has this journey for you of going to the palenques, drinking the mezcal, has it brought you closer to your connection with Mexico? Not to say that ever drifted, but
yeah, I would say so. I feel like I kind of like growing up, I feel like it was a lot of as a Mexican in New York, it's like you gotta act and essentially pretend like you're a white person.
assimilate,
like just like be more white than the white people in New York, and then in Mexico you gotta be more Mexican than the Mexicans, just because we were in the middle.
Yeah, right.
So a while ago I feel like I started kind of just like being more myself and not caring like if my English is not perfect or like things like that that we don't necessarily realize we're doing. And I just like I'm super Mexican. I love the culture. I'm such a proud Mexican.
I love that.
And I'm first generation, so it's like my parents like raised us very Mexican. All our traditions and everything very Mexican. So I really, really love that, and it has like I've not just because of Yola, but because just embracing my Mexican side.
Yeah,
I've just like gotten more closer to the culture. I want to always learn more. But yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
and in a sense, I'm kind of envious in a way that since I'm such a hodgepodge of all these things, there's no single thing, right? There is, as I found out though, a huge tie to my English background, which is why I like London. At least now, why I think I like London so much. Well, there's a few things that I've read about Yola. It's glass rested, which is a great thing. Honestly, and we could go. I would love to take it at the distillery sometime. I'm glass resting stuff because we know it just gives this nice, creates balance and creates copacetic flavors and all of that. But what drew you to the brand besides the fact apparently you were already drinking it?
Yeah, I was already drinking it. I don't think again it was not like it happened so organically. It was just not I wasn't even looking.
Yeah, exactly. Like love. That's how it works, right?
Good, I hope so. So I think I first started like drinking it because one of my friends, Karen Jarman, that used to work with them, she was a brand ambassador, and most of the bars that she worked at or that she knew people, they had Yola, and I'm sure she must have like bought me a shot or something, I don't know. And then from there I just kind of like enjoyed it. Before that I was chugging Ilegal.
Having worked at Cafe No Se makes sense, right?
I mean, I like my love for mezcal, I think I owe it to Freddie Antonacci. I remember we were at Whistler's and he had a shot of Ilegal and it was like the Añejo. I don't even know which one it was.
Yeah.
But he was like, do you want some? And I used to be like, oh, mezcal? Absolutely not. Um, and then one day I guess I was just a little drunk or drunk enough to like just go for it.
Yeah.
And I grabbed a shot and just took the drink. And then from there I was like, oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
I can drink that. And then just from there I just started drinking more and more.
Yeah.
But with Yola, it's such a different and like it's so smooth. It's a great mezcal for people that are just starting to drink mezcal that don't like the smokiness and all
Right.
of that. There's a lot of people that like the perception of like mezcal has to be smoky, and
Right.
like I used to think that as well because I didn't know anything about the process. So the fact that I started drinking it and then like realized like how good it is and like
Mm-hmm.
I was just like enjoying it.
Yeah.
And then when it happened, I was actually at Dutch Kills. It was their 10-year anniversary and Karen was there. And I just asked, they were super busy and it was open bar.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, can I just get some Yola on the rocks and like an orange twist, an orange wedge? And she heard me and she was like, we should talk.
Yeah.
And then that was the first time we like kind of started a conversation about it. And we had lunch like 2-3 days later and she essentially like hired me kind of thing.
It's amazing.
Then I met like my now boss, Gina. We met at one of the events and she was essentially like, do you respond to emails quickly? Do you pay attention to your phone? I was like, yep. She was like, done. You're hired.
Not bad.
So yeah, it happened very, very fast, and it didn't feel real until like it was. I started in October of 2019, but I was kind of like freelancing,
Mm-hmm.
and then 2020, beginning of 2020, that's when I got like officially hired, and then the pandemic
Just in
happened.
time for it
Yeah.
to like, yeah.
The pandemic happened, and then I was essentially just like furloughed for a bit, and then I got rehired in I want to say end of 2020.
Mm.
And it all happened so quickly that by 2021 I was like, oh, like I gotta work. There's a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it happened. I'm all about it.
What do you think's? We've been in this game a long time, both of us. I didn't intend on it, to be honest. It just fucking happened. But I liked it. It's good. You just stick around. What do you think is the biggest challenge that you face when you're trying to bring people into mezcal and Yola specifically?
I think for people that don't know anything about mezcal or people that don't care to learn anything,
Yeah.
it's so hard. Like just on my day-to-day, it's so hard to compete with the big brands or brands that have such like incredible amount of money behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have that.
Yeah.
And we're not a cheap product, but it's also the way everything is done is very careful. It's with intention. Everyone gets paid a good salary. It's not a bad salary or anything. And not just that, it's all our agave is fully grown, fully matured.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is cut before, and all the agave that we have is used for specifically Yola. We don't make any other.
Oh, that's great.
Any other mezcal. So people don't realize how much money it takes to do that.
They're like stocks.
Yeah.
You know.
So I would say like having to compete with the big brands like Casamigos.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that mezcal so much.
I think it's pretty rubbish mezcal.
It's pretty bad, and people have it behind their bar because it has so much money behind it, and like their marketing team and PR team was so good at like getting it everywhere that I can't compete with them.
I know.
And like people will come in and like do a massive swipe, and like I can't do that.
Yeah, it's that's what things have become. Just put it that way, right? Where it's like you spend your way to the top, or you spend your way to the bottom, depending how you want to look at it, you know. But you feel like the general warmth and reception and openness to mezcal is probably better now than perhaps when.
Absolutely, yeah. People are more open to trying new brands. or maybe they've tried many and they just want to
Mm,
like stick to one or something like that. But people are definitely more receptive to mezcal now.
I love it.
It's incredible. It's amazing. It's such a it's so awesome to see that like Mexico having this spirit
Yeah.
and it's taking over.
Well, I mean, taking over. This
Yeah.
is true. I suppose people would say it was tequila, but for me, increased 15% growth, 15 to 20% growth annually for exported liters and stuff
Yeah.
with mezcal. I think that's an incredible feat.
It's amazing. It sucks so much that it's like it takes so long to make it.
I know.
Like
It's
it's so it's like a what's the
double-edged
word?
sword.
Yeah, double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It is. Well, I got 2 questions left for you.
tell me.
And this next one, I'm trying to think about, no, because you love music, so I'm going to frame it in this way. So you're drinking some Yola Mezcal anywhere in the world, doesn't matter where. We could say Madrid, which is a beautiful, beautiful place. But you could have a mezcalito with any living or deceased musical artist. Who would you love to
Ooh.
just sit, drink mezcal, and talk with?
Oh man. You probably have never heard of him. I'm not sure. Pedro Infante.
I don't know. Tell me.
He's a Mexican artist.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good question. I like could have come up with 10.
It's like 50 things.
Yeah. Pedro Infante, he is still huge. Have you ever heard of Vicente Fernandez?
Yes.
So think Vicente Fernandez, but he just passed away recently.
Mm.
But I would say Vicente Fernandez or Pedro Infante, both huge, huge icons in Mexican music.
Mm.
And Pedro Infante is the music that he sings. It was so like what my grandparents used to sing.
Oh, cool.
I love his music so much. Like every year for my birthday, he has Las Mañanitas. He sang Las Mañanitas.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll put Las Mañanitas for myself because it's just like something about him singing that song. It's just so, it just feels like a hug to me.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. Like,
I love that.
Yeah, but I would say Pedro Infante for
That's
sure.
a pretty incredible answer. And I've learned so much from my guests about stuff I should read, stuff I should listen to. So this is one of those things. I appreciate that. So last question, and maybe you don't know the answer to this.
Yeah.
It's not a math question. I'll tell you that. I would never dare do that to any one of my guests. Do you know what's next? Are there things that are percolating in your head that you can't say, but you know potentially are next in your journey?
Yes and no.
Oh.
There's a lot up in the air right now.
Yeah.
I know where I want to be.
Mm.
I know where I'm headed. I don't know if I'm on the right track. Like when it comes down to like job wise, I guess. A little bit of everything. Job, where I am, like living, everything. So I know where I want to be.
That's good.
I know where I know what I want my life to look like by the age of 40.
Which is still ways out.
8 years away.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah. If I did the math correctly. The one math problem I had this one.
Yeah, I'm 8 years away, so I have time.
You sure do.
But yeah.
I like it.
Yeah,
that's good. And it keeps everybody on edge.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit of a cliffhanger. The suspense still hanging.
So stay tuned, I guess.
Yeah, stay tuned.
I guess I'm gonna like have to like post more about everything since you told me I'm not like I'm not out there. I'm gonna start posting so much.
I don't know if you need to do that, but if you want to, that'd be totally fine. So 7 years in the making, we finally did this thing.
I know.
I'm glad that we did it.
It's crazy.
I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I'm still around.
I'm glad.
Nah, I appreciate that. Same.
Yeah.
Carolyn, thanks so much for taking the time out. We'll talk soon, and we got a mezcal from Puebla to try too here.
Amazing.
All right.
I'm excited.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Talk soon. Well, there we have it. Carolyn Gil, again, years in the making. I think she has a great story, the lineage of her family as it runs through some of the most influential cocktail bars in New York that have ever existed. She moves to Austin And, if you know Carolyn, you know Carolyn. It's this name, she worked with the brand for some time. I'm not sure if she's still working with them. I'm sure she'll work with the brand again in the future, but there's something about her love of food, her love of flavors, her love of hospitality. It just oozes out. Not literally, of course, but it's something you can sense just by talking to her, how hospitable, how compassionate, how caring she is. And it's such a pleasure to get to say I finally sat down and got to talk about life and her life just for one moment, And again, seeing her in New York was really, really fun. That's her home turf, So I hope you enjoyed this chat, and I hope you get to know Carolyn more. If you ever head out to New York, look her up. I'm sure she's waiting with a smile to see you. So thanks everybody for listening to Show to V with Mike G. No matter why you're wondering, you're restarting a band that broke up 22 years ago and you're now almost in your mid-40s, but people somehow care. Or if you're thinking, I'm not sure which Criterion movie I'm going to watch at the gym this evening, but it might have Marlon Brando, please keep dancing.